My mom likes to say there's an app for everything. And now it's official. There really is. Ready for this one? There's a new app out called Mile High, and it helps you find a new friend or partner while flying the friendly skies. Don't think my mom would like that app at all. Ready for this one? Our nation's capital is sinking. I'm not making this up. But no, this doesn't mean our country's leaders are going to need to hop aboard life rafts anytime soon. But they may want to invest in a good pair of water waders.
Obama arrived here at Newtown High School at 5:30 p.m. I grew up in Boston, and I can tell you I have never seen that before. That road closed.
How about a little something to make you laugh this morning? Why not? An unusual police call in Michigan was caught on camera. Take a look at this. It's a baby skunk over there with a yogurt container stuck on its head.
We are on absolute lockdown, especially this one area behind me, but I'm going to step aside because take a look at this.
Secondary drowning can happen to anyone, but kids are most at risk because their lungs are so small. Lunch hour traffic can be a real nightmare. We all know that, especially when your drive is interrupted by a massive sinkhole. Take a look at the huge sinkhole that swallowed a pickup truck. I've made it no secret that I have a slight crush on this man.
As you can see behind me, the waves, they've just gotten even bigger. Folks here in Monroe are doing everything they can to make this transition as seamless as possible.
My guy is live at the Connecticut Science Center this morning. Ryan, it's a rough gig you got going on there. The woman who found the note reached out to us to help her find Courtney. We launched a search and could never have anticipated what we would find. You hear that whistle now? That means it's your time for Pet of the Week. Or kisses, I'll take both. It's time to check your fridge and shelves because there's a recall underway, and this is a kind of an interesting one. An apple cider company is calling back batches of its product. Get ready for this. Angry Orchard says 2 batches of its crisp apple hard cider is an explosion risk. We have team coverage this noon, beginning with the man of the hour. Who else? News 8's meteorologist Kevin Arnone, who is in for Gil Simmons. Did I do a good job with all the H's?
Oh, it was
hot,
great.
humid.
I liked it. Hazy.
Hazy.
You got it. You covered them all.
All right, good.
Okay, you want to do the wall?
No, you can go. All right, Kevin, thanks so much. Of course, working outside on days like today can be downright unbearable. But when you work on a farm, there are jobs that need to be done. Things like pruning Christmas trees. Yes, Christmas trees, one of the farthest things from our minds right now, but not so for the folks at Jones Family Farm. That's where we find News 8's Kent Pierce, I believe in a winter jacket. Speaking of the heat, crews in Hartford had to battle a large apartment fire this morning amid the rising humidity. It happened at the intersection of Park and Broad Streets. New at noon, a New York prison worker has pleaded guilty to helping 2 convicted killers escape from prison. You'll remember her, Joyce Mitchell, a prison tailor shop instructor. My mom likes to say there's an app for everything. And now it's official. There really is. Ready for this one? There's a new app out called Mile High, and it helps you find a new friend or partner while flying the friendly skies. Don't think my mom would like that app at all. All right, coming up next on News 8 at noon, the heat is on. Kevin Arnone is in for Gil Simmons with a look at just how hot it's going to get. And the city of New Haven is helping to keep people cool as possible during this heat wave. The city is expanding the hours at its pools and at Lighthouse Point Park Beach. Now to a News 8 exclusive. A bus driver in Waterbury is caught on camera texting behind the wheel while driving. We're learning about a police-involved shooting in Baltimore, bringing community tensions back to the surface. Police say an officer shot a man in the face last night after the man apparently ran his car into a cruiser. Switching gears now, anyone with children knows with baby comes a lot of unsolicited advice. And now there's a new study out, of course there is, that shows all that unwanted advice could be bogging down your memory. Well, it's a topic that has a lot of people talking. How much is a human egg worth? That's a question at the center of a federal lawsuit. 2 women are fighting price limits that they say are unfair. ABC's Deborah Roberts reports.
You know that you might lose your job, you might lose your family.
If anyone can relate to what Bruce Jenner is going through, it's Diana Lombardi.
It takes a lot of internal fortitude to come out.
She lives in Connecticut and transitioned to life as a female at age 59.
My youngest memories are feeling different. And back when I was a young child, there was no words for it. There was nothing in the news, nothing.
Eventually, Diana says the pressure to transition became so great, she joined a support group. She started taking hormones to help her transition to female in 2004. By 2007, she had transitioned and was living full-time as Diana.
And how has it been since you've transitioned?
Oh, it's been great. Finally, I can be who I want. I don't have to worry about anybody finding out.
Like Bruce Jenner, Diana had the support and love of her family. Not everyone is that fortunate.
If you look at the homeless rate for trans people is huge because, especially at younger age, because their parents disown them.
Diana says many are afraid to come out, silenced by violence.
It's so sad. I don't understand why people hate. You know, why ruin your life hating? You know, if you love, or not even just love, if you just accept people for who they are, it makes so much difference.
Diana herself has faced harassment.
One time when I was having my oil changed in a garage, you know, the employees came out and were, you know, heckling me in the waiting room.
Heckling you how?
Well, just coming out and laughing, you know, looking in and started giggling and stepping out.
How do you react in a situation like that?
Well, it's them. They are the ones who are really the ones who have a problem, not me. You know, for me, I just want to live my life.
Diana credits the state's hate crime and anti-discrimination bills for making Connecticut more trans-friendly. But she says, as a society, we still have a ways to go.
The only thing I want to do is just be able to be myself. I really don't want anybody to, you know, change how they think. I just want them to be able to let me live my own life. You know, I'm not asking them to change any religious beliefs or anything, but just treat me as you treat everybody else.
Diana says a high-profile person like Bruce Jenner coming out will provide something she never had as a child, a role model for the trans community and a voice to educate the public on what it means.
I think people who can now understand, you know, what trans is all about. It's not just something that you say, oh, gee, tomorrow I think I'll be a woman. You know, it's something that's deep inside and it's not a choice. I think that's probably the best thing that could come out of it is people realizing that it's not a choice.
Diana says all of the buzz around the interview with Diane Sawyer has already helped the transgender community. She hopes people will now feel safer to come forward, and she says Bruce Jenner is to thank for that. For News 8, I'm Allie Reed. Good Wednesday morning. It is July 29th, and it is hot out there. I'm Allie Reed. Glad to have you with us this morning. Totally know how to use it all. Probably better than you can.
Probably, yeah. And I'm not even that old either. That's the funny part.
That's sad. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. It is July 15th. I'm Allie Reed. Great to have you with us. It is 6:21, and Connecticut lawmakers are now stepping in to clean up practices at state juvenile detention facilities. This is a follow-up to that scathing report issued by the state's child advocate. Let's get a check of stories focused on mommyhood. We've been promising you this one all morning. News 8 has your back when it comes to taking the smartphone plunge with your child. I have a few years to have this discussion with Caden, but it seems like everyone has a smartphone these days. So don't be too surprised if your grade schooler starts asking you for one. Yeah, you think you're hot outside of this weather, but imagine wearing a fur coat. That's what these dogs have to do. News 8's Ken Pierce has the backs of these dogs. He's live from Woodbridge this morning with our favorite pet people. Good morning, Kent. The former prison worker who helped the two inmates escape from an upstate New York jail will learn her fate in September. 51-year-old Joyce Mitchell pleaded guilty and agreed to waive a grand jury hearing on her two charges. Ready for this one? Our nation's capital is sinking. I'm not making this up. But no, this doesn't mean our country's leaders are going to need to hop aboard life rafts anytime soon, but they may want to invest in a good pair of water waders. According to a new study, Washington, D.C. is slowly sinking. We are back now at 6:55. Slow day in the weather department, right?
Yeah,
no big deal.
It's hot. It's the summertime. We can handle it.
Good timing with the haircut.
You got it.
Very slick. That'll do it for us this morning. Thanks for watching.
Good Morning America is up next. Stay cool today and don't forget to drink water.
That's
See you
true.
back here tomorrow morning.
Bye-bye.
I am standing inside of Path Train 745, and I have to say I just stepped into here a few moments ago, and it is surreal. This train is exactly the same intact as it was on the day of the 9/11 attacks. They haven't done a single thing to it. As you can see here, there's even pieces of the train still on board, dust and dirt everywhere. So it really remains as it was that day on September 11, 2001. Now, Alan Zalazzo is joining me. He is a path engineer. We talked about this, that after the first plane hit the first tower, all PATH trains were grounded about 17 minutes after the fact. A lot of them told to get out. Some were left behind. Why is that?
They left them behind because they didn't know that service was not going to resume.
You worked that day, that afternoon. What is it like for you to be here nearly 14 years later standing in this car?
Brings back a lot of memories.
Well, it's been a beautiful ceremony. Let's take a look at some of the video from earlier this morning when this train was brought in. There were bagpipes leading it. There were police and fire units from both Connecticut and New York. It was a very emotional ceremony. I'd say about 400, 500 people lined the streets to see this PATH train come to its new home, which is the Trolley Museum in East Haven. There were several dignitaries here speaking. One of those was Senator Richard Blumenthal, and he made a comment which I thought was interesting and beautiful. He said he wanted people to come up to the train, to touch it, to walk in it. The Trolley Museum wants people to do the same thing because that's really how you get a sense of history and appreciation for what took place, who sacrificed so much that day, and just really take a moment to reflect on all this train symbolizes.
When people see and touch this historic treasure, it's more than a relic, more than a piece of metal. It's a treasure and a tribute to the spirit of those men and women and of the victims of that tragedy.
This car was 75 feet underground when it was excavated. Then it was pulled out. It took about 5 months to get it out. In fact, they had to build new tracks in order to get the train out of the station. So a huge effort, many people contributing to that. Since it was pulled out of the station, it's been sitting in an airport hangar at JFK Airport. It originally was going to be part of the 9/11 Museum in New York City, but it was deemed too big, so that's why it is here in East Haven. It's going to sit outside of the museum for a little bit while a permanent memorial is built around this PATH train. Once that's complete, which is expected sometime early next year, there's going to be a proper dedication ceremony for that. Reporting live in East Haven, I'm Allie Reed, News 8.
Good Monday morning, everyone. It is August 3rd. I'm Allie Reed. Nice to have you with us. Brian, thank you. It is 6:06. Let's focus now on your health and happiness. Officials in the Bronx are working to keep more people from getting sick after 4 people died from Legionnaires. Legionnaires is a respiratory disease with flu-like symptoms. We'll take it. We'll go to Kelly in a little bit. We'll take it. We'll steer the wheels for right now. Still to come on Good Morning Connecticut, a new push to protect a vulnerable group in our state. We'll tell you why Connecticut City is launching a national campaign to help make sure everyone stays safe. Rye Guy is live at the Connecticut Science Center this morning. Ryan, it's a rough gig you got going on there. In our Social Square segment, the world is still outraged about Cecil the lion's death, but this weekend, another lion was also making headlines, Cecil's brother, Jericho. Now, there has been a lot of confusion about Jericho, whether he's alive and whether he actually is Cecil's brother. Now to the runaway train we've been telling you about. It happened in Oneida County, New York on July 21st, and the whole thing was caught on camera. Take a look. A teenager is due in court today after police say he shot a man. It happened early yesterday morning in Goshen. Police say Alfred Costello of Torrington was shot inside of a home on Bartholomew Hill Road. An investigation led police to a 17-year-old who is now facing serious charges. Costello is expected to be okay. This is just a tragic story. The little boy who was hit by a baseball over the weekend has died. 9-year-old Kaiser Carlisle was acting as a bat boy during a baseball game in Kansas. Kelly, thank you. And speaking of traveling, coming up next on Good Morning Connecticut, you may be able to get a cheap flight this fall, and you could start looking as soon as today.
It started with a letter found in a purse in a thrift store in Connecticut. The letter, written in 2002 by a girl named Courtney, was a tribute to her dying friend, Mr. Chase, who was 60 years her senior. It reads, "Dear Mr. Chase, I am using my favorite pen to write you a letter, and that is how I think of you, my favorite buddy in the world. I will really miss those days when you would wave to me and smile at me. You were the only person who made a frown go away. To me, that was very special. Mr. Chase, if I can only say goodbye, I am sorry that you have cancer. Please remember everyone, and I love you like a father."
The woman who found the note reached out to us to help her find Courtney. We launched a search and could never have anticipated what we would find.
Hi. Thank you so much. No, thank you.
The woman who found the note hoped to give it to Courtney, But that was not to be. Courtney herself died shortly after writing it.
It was bittersweet. It was not what I expected.
Courtney had been suffering from a lifelong illness when she wrote this letter to her friend Mr. Chase on the very day he died. 5 months later, she was gone.
They had spiritual souls that just connected on a level that a lot of people wouldn't understand if they weren't going through what each of them were going through.
Neither Courtney's mom nor Mr. Chase's widow knew about this letter until now.
This is just so
Surreal.
Yes, yeah, it is.
When this happened, it was like he was saying, I'm okay. Courtney's with me. I'm okay. And it was just like, it's a miracle. That's what it is. And people don't believe in miracles. I believe in miracles, and that's what it was to me.
Both women see it as a sign their loved ones are united in death as they were in life, and that gives them great peace.
It was the night before she passed away. She took my hand and said, Mommy, don't cry. I'll come back and visit you. And she died the next day.
Do you think this is her way of visiting you?
Yeah.
Neither family knows whose purse it is or why the purse was even in the thrift store to begin with. What they do know is that they found a lifelong friend in the woman who found the note for them. For News 8, I'm Allie Reed.